at the end of chapter 18 is God's heart's desire. In verse 31, shake off all the sin that you have committed against me, and make yourselves a new heart and a new spirit. Think about that. A new heart and a new spirit. Why are you so anxious to die, house of Israel? I take no pleasure in the death of anyone. It is the Lord Yahweh who speaks. Repent and live. When we want to do things right in our own eyes, we make excuses. The excuse in chapter 18 is, well, if my father was a sinner, then I am too. If my father was good, then I'm good.
I love that.
But it's not true. Each one of us
Blaming our parents. How many have done that for a long time?
Okay. That's good, Kristen. I mean, Kathleen.
Well, I've done it.
So do I.
Our next excuse is in chapter 34. I've used this excuse too. God is going to take care of the leaders. The leaders before the exile and even after, they decided to take care of themselves and not those they were leading. So everybody suffered. Yahweh has something to say about this. In 34, and this would be verse 9 and 10. The Lord Yahweh says this, I am going to call the shepherds to account. The shepherds are the leaders. I am going to take my flock back from them, and I shall not allow them to feed my flock. In this way, the shepherds will stop feeding themselves. I shall rescue my sheep from their mouths. They will not prey on them anymore. So it's obvious here that these leaders abused those that they were leading, took advantage. Chapter 15, or verse 15, I'm sorry. I myself will pasture my sheep. I myself will show them where to rest. It is the Lord Yahweh who speaks. I shall look for the lost one, bring back the stray, bandage the wounded, and make the weak strong. I shall watch over the fat and healthy. I shall be a true shepherd to them. God has a plan for those who have been a victim. It is so easy for us to say, you know what? My boss told me something I didn't like, so I don't have to do it. He or she is punitive. We can make those excuses about our government, about our parents, about church leaders. I can do what's right in my own eyes because somebody else is doing it wrong. God still wants us to do what's right and submit to God's authority and to the authority of those who lead us. And he says he'll know us and that we'll know him. In verse 31, and you, my sheep, are the flock I shall pasture. And I am your God. It is the Lord Yahweh who speaks. So God's authority is above all these things that we make excuses about. So that we can trust him and we can choose that new heart. We can choose the new spirit. We can choose the trust and we can obey God so that we can know him.
Well, obedience. What a fun word. Obedience. Obey. It just makes you want to do the opposite.
I love that.
So here's this priest, Ezekiel, and God decides he's going to do these things. I know I'm a rebellious sort because, the fact that he was told to go in his house and stay there and shut up. Okay, so while they didn't have cell phones and phones back then, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have any of these great things where they can communicate with each other. So, I was thinking about it last night. Stay in my house. Don't talk to no one. Even in prison you get better rights than that. But Ezekiel went in his house and was shut up in there. Didn't get to talk to nobody. And what was worse than that, God commanded him to lie down on his side. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever taken care of somebody who's elderly is very, very sick, who can't get out of bed. Does anybody know what happens to a person who lies in one position for any length of time? Bed sores. Yes. How long does a bed sore take?
Not very long.
Not very long. So, here we are in chapter 4. Actually, it's the end of 3. No, it is 4. See, I know my stuff real well here. Verse 4. So he was commanded to lie down on his left side for the house of Israel and to bear its sin. Now, I got enough trouble bearing my own, which, thank God I can give to Jesus, and he can cover and wash it. But he just bared the whole of the sin of the whole nation. Lying on his side, and he don't even get to complain about it, because his mouth is shut.